was a little bit worried this morning, Dan, when I got here.
About?
Not going to lie. A little bit worried. There was no breakfast.
I saw that. I came in and I didn't see any trays out there. I didn't see any bagels out there. I've seen in general that the breakfast has gotten a bit flimsier. It's not, the lunch is still strong, but the breakfast has gotten a little weaker. What happened?
So I have some inside information via our ladies at the desk over there that were telling me that the delivery driver came in with the stuff, and then as he was delivering said stuff, it exploded and fell on the ground, and they had to go get more.
Well,
So that's why I was late.
I was worried, but then the breakfast came through in a very big way.
Yes,
you got
mountains.
the good bagels this morning. You got the good cream cheese. You know I don't play around with that whipped cream cheese. I like the block cream cheese. And you got the good bagels.
You like government cream cheese?
I'm in a great mood today, Dan.
Miami doesn't make great bagels, correct? It can be the Miami bagel can be inconsistent.
These are the good ones.
I've heard people from New York come in and complain about our bagels because New York has some bagel snobs, and evidently we don't always make good bagels.
true.
What makes these bagels better than the other bagels?
They're fat.
Yeah.
These are fat bagels.
They're allowed to have that. You ever have a New York croqueta?
Yikes.
It ain't the same.
I wasn't saying that they're not allowed to have that.
All right. Like, but there's no shame in not having as good a bagel as New York.
They just come down here and they complain that the bagels aren't.
Well, they
as
complain.
good.
They complain.
They complain.
Well,
They complain.
true. That's
You
true.
can put bagels, you can put any other thing you want out there.
Yeah,
They complain.
New Yorkers do come down here and just complain
Like, stay up
while
there and
in
complain.
Miami about how Miami's not as good, while New York right at present is shoveling ice off of the driveway all over the Northeast while we have weather unlike any in the United States. We will take a lesser bagel in exchange for having weather better than anywhere in the United States. The entire United States is like Denver today, right?
Yeah.
It's like the second half in Denver yesterday,
Yeah,
except for Miami where it's 78 degrees.
we're the best.
Very foggy, though. I did wake up very foggy this morning. I was like driving, I was like, whoa.
It was hard to see even 3 feet in front of you, but then when you drove 1 mile, perfect sunshine.
I'm looking at the Weather Channel right now in St. Louis, Missouri. It's 0 degrees.
Suckers.
Football is back, Jack. Oh my, we've waited for so long. We're so damn excited that we put it in a song. Don't need no check downs. Give me big hits and quarterbacks. Keep your fantasy team from falling off the track. Football is back, Jack. Whether on the ground or through the air. When the chips are down and you throw a prayer. When your team is primed and on the hunt. It's 4th and 10, you refuse to punt. When the shoulder pads and helmets crack, that's how you know that football is back, Jack. Let me hear you say football is back, Jack. This high is wild and out of control. And we're gonna ride it every week till we reach the Super Bowl. Don't need no check downs. Give me big hits and quarterbacks. If you say this game's the best, I'll say it's a gag. Football is back, Jack. Football is back, Jack. Football is back. Football is back, Jack.
Put it on the poll, Juju. Would you prefer that the Rams and Seahawks just play again? At Le Batard Show. And would you also prefer, because the measurement system is so imperfect in this sport, that the Rams and Seahawks just play best of 3 starting right now to actually determine who's best, as opposed to the slop we did yesterday where 2 fourth down calls go a different way, and you've got 2 different teams playing, and you don't have a measurement system that actually helps you understand who's the best team. I've got a couple of stats of the day for you guys that are totally crazy, all right? Play the stat of the day music. You guys tell me which of these stats is the best.
Start of the day, start of the day. This year, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This year, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This year, start of the day. Start of the day, start of the day. This year, start of the day.
So I've got 3 of them for you, okay? Stafford yesterday goes 350 plus, 3 touchdowns, no turnovers. Second time in 5 weeks he does that and loses. That happened to Brady twice in 23 years. That's one of the stats of the day. There have been 4 times, Zaslow, since 1970 that a quarterback goes for 370 plus, 3 passing touchdowns, and 0 interceptions against the NFL's number 1 scoring defense. 4 times it's happened that quarterback is lost. Twice it's Stafford in the last 5 weeks. Where it's happened, where he's playing, perfect football. Yesterday he had 13 completions at one point for 260-something yards, and he's losing to Sam Darnold. But here's my favorite of the stats, and when I say favorite, the most haunting, is someone who has lived in Miami for the last quarter century. The Patriots have 10 Super Bowl appearances since the Dolphins were last in the playoffs, last winning a playoff game. The Patriots have 10 Super Bowl appearances since the Dolphins last won a playoff game. That's crazy in a league where you're rewarded for being bad and the salary cap makes things equal.
Well, the Patriots were rewarded for being bad. They somehow built themselves up from losing the best coach of all time, the best quarterback of all time, missing on their initial replacement for the best quarterback of all time, having to rebuild that, and now we're here with Mike Vrabel and Drake May. That's the process working. Just don't know why it never works for Miami.
Lamar Jackson defenses have forced 3 turnovers in 8 playoff games. Drake May's defenses have forced 8 turnovers in 3 playoff games.
Yeah, he didn't necessarily have to be super great to get to a Super Bowl, which is a blessing in year 2 because it's invaluable experience. Now, he was big in big moments against a big-time defense in terrible conditions. So I think a lot of the stats, people are cherry-picking, like this guy didn't have to score more than 17 points to get to the Super Bowl. I think contextually, people understand that Denver game was a little bit more difficult, but yeah, it's a credit to Robert Kraft. I'm sure he's really enjoying this one right now.
And then you look at his advanced stats regarding Drake May, and it's like 17 touchdowns, 0 picks against the blitz, and it's like all these different things that show you he's actually a really good quarterback. The problem is they haven't really played anybody, and like that, there's nothing that the Patriots can do. That's the schedule. You got to play the schedule.
These defenses are awesome that they're beating in the playoffs, and if they wind up winning the Super Bowl, it's like the final boss of defense. You're going to have to give them some credit.
For sure.
I want to, though, talk about a couple of things as it relates to the Patriots. I want you guys to go back to right before the pandemic and whatever it is Bill Belichick thought of himself and how he regarded how integral he was to the Patriots' success. If I go to Bill Belichick, let's say 6 or 7 years ago, okay, and I say to him, here's what's going to happen over the next 7 years, your greatness. There's going to be a 10-part series on Apple where Robert Kraft just destroys how important you were to everything that was happening there. Your quarterback is going to leave and immediately win in Tampa. And here's the kicker. One of your linebackers is going to get to the Super Bowl with your team. You're just a guy you coached that was your linebacker is going to go 9-0 on the road, not lose a road game, and end up in the playoffs. At the end of that game, and I want to talk about that game because I got to think, this isn't a empirical stat, but I got to think that for a championship weekend was the most opposite 2 games could be. Like in the history of games being played for a right to the Super Bowl, New England at the end of that game, Romo would not shut up about how aggressive the call was to bootleg a running quarterback who's your safest option running the football. Romo would not shut up. I can't believe how aggressive a call that was, while in the next game, Sam Darnold is still throwing with less than 4 minutes left, because that's what real aggressive looks like.
The best part about that is it wasn't even the call. Apparently, Drake May called his own number there and didn't even tell his teammates. There's a quote here from Garrett Bradbury that said, "I hit my block and all the defenders started running the other way." I'm like, what? Oh, my God. After the game, Drake's like, "I debated telling you guys if I was going to keep it or not, but I just decided not to." He did that on his own.
I unironically, because we talked about this last week, right, about Romo and he stinks and how I don't really care about that. Like, it doesn't bother me. I was annoyed with Nance and Romo in the game yesterday because they thought it was so cute and so funny that as viewers, we couldn't see where they were on the field because of the snow. Like, it was a big joke to them. Hey, buddy, it's your job to figure it out and let me know as the viewer. I need to know where they are on the field. They thought it was so funny that no one knows where the football is. Figure it out, man.
I'll tell you something that was funny, though. Like, in a game, like, we all know this is violent real estate acquisition. We all know that both of those games are decided last night by inches. Like, 4th down and inches is deciding both of the games. The part I did find funny is that referee totally making up when the punts went out of bounds where to spot the ball. Like, he was totally, he was having, like, he could have gone anywhere. He could have walked 40 yards and we would have said that's fine. Like, you're talking about these people killing themselves in order to not let someone get 3 yards. And then there's just a slob on the sidelines walking down, strolling down the sideline, giving you 9 extra yards. And you're like, yeah, I guess that's where the ball is. No, I don't really know.
Zaz, you know about that WrestleMania 13?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah, you know about Bret Hart versus Stone Cold Steve Austin?
Of course.
You know what happened in that match?
Double turn.
Double turn. This playoff championship weekend was the crescendo of a weeks-long double turn in which people decided they actually liked Tom Brady on the broadcast more than Tony Romo.
Yeah. Yes, good call.
I have for you a funny story from yesterday in that regard, because Tom Brady did have a good call.
He might be the best.
Wow.
Tom Brady did have a good call on a play. So on 4th and 1, okay, on 4th and 1, Matthew Stafford breaks Lawrence's tackle and gets an extra half yard to prolong a very tense moment at the end of that game. And Brady, and the key part to that job is enthusiasm, right? It's what John Madden had, and it's what Brady exhibited yesterday when he just shouted, "Oh, my God." And I gasped, too, and I'm not kidding you when I say that I would have been less surprised if my coffee table had gotten up and run out of the room to see Stafford run a yard and a half. So I gasped, right? And Valerie's walking past, and she hears me gasp, and she hears Tom Brady yell, "Oh, my God," but she's got no context for everything. So all she's seeing is Stafford fall a yard and a half, and she's like, "Why are you and him reacting that way?" And I looked at her, and I'm like, "You don't understand. This guy is old," and she's like, "How old is he?" And he's younger than her. And I'm like, "No, but he doesn't. He's played 17 years in this league, so he's like he's 97.
His body is broken."
Yeah, he almost missed the start of the season with a back injury. And we never actually saw a hit. It just, he woke up, his back hurt. Tom Brady was excellent on that broadcast. And, man, I capitulated on my Brady stock at the worst possible time. I kept telling myself for a couple seasons, he's Tom Brady. He's the GOAT. Put adversity in his way. He'll conquer it. It's just a matter of time. And then I felt like we reached a breaking point where I'm like, yo, this guy's just never going to get better. And I regret that because he found the secret sauce. That team.
He's a good broadcaster.
That team found its rhythm by being, hey, we love a good game. Yeah. And they set the table when you're like, hey, partner, you feel that juice a little bit? I'm starting to feel that juice. And they get more excited and they meet every moment. In fact, down to the production elements on the bump-ins, they show them like fist pumping each other because they're just super psyched to watch football. And that's the key. That's how Tom Brady is connecting to us. We don't have any connection points to Tom Brady. We like his story, but that guy's just lived in a different world for 30 years.
The guy who gets to live in a different world over the next 2 weeks than what his 2 weeks would have been like if the result had been different yesterday is Woolen for the Seahawks, the 5th-round defensive back who
got lucky.
So on one drive, this felt to me, honestly, like when I see in the animal kingdom, I have to turn away because I don't like watching when the big predators, chase down an antelope. But this felt cruel to me, what happened in this game, where he drops an interception on that drive, and then on 4th and 12, after Seattle's made the stop it needs to make, he gets a penalty for taunting the Rams sideline. And on the very next play, they target him with Puka, and not only target him so precisely that you saw while the ball was in the air, Rams running down the field with their arms up in the air, knowing it's a touchdown because Puka and Stafford are so precise.
He doesn't drop anything, Nakua.
It's crazy, but neither does Smith-njigba.
He's a good player.
Oh, my God.
They're both unreal. And both guys JSN obviously came with high
How's he
pedigree.
so open?
Well, they scheme him, baby.
No, it's not just scheming him because they know what's coming when he's in the backfield, and he had 10 catches for 100-plus yards at the half, and his route running. I thought Brady did an excellent job of describing this. He's so compact, and his body stays in the same place, the shoulder height and everything else, that when he swivels his hips, it's always defensive backs are turning. He runs perfect routes, and the precision. Look, Mike Macdonald and Sam Darnold should take the victory lap today on shutting up everybody, including me, because that game, Darnold just beat Stafford at his best. But I want to present to you guys, all of you, the normalization of one-game samples as the measurement system. I'm driving in today, and I hear Rex Ryan calling all the analytics guys nerds again, these nerd dudes, because Rex Ryan is so cool and everybody knows it. The normalization that we have in this sport, Zaslow, of this is the way we measure it. And so today everyone's saying Seattle's the better team. I don't know that. The Rams lost 6 games by a total of 21 points. Like, the Rams, that offense is better at offense than Seattle is at defense. The Rams, this is a real stat I'm about to give you. The Rams defense fell apart. Last 9 games of the season, they allowed scores on 40% of their drives. Like, that Rams defense fell apart and betrayed them yesterday. Stafford should not lose that game. Rarely, if ever, does a quarterback who plays that game lose that game. He did it against the number 1 defense. Darnold did it against a defense that's been bad for 9 weeks.
I get what you're saying, that you don't know if they're better, but they played yesterday, and Seahawks beat them. They're better.
Yeah, but it's a drop punt and 4th down. Like, if Stafford had gotten, no, I don't do that.
Those are the margins.
No, but it's an imperfect measurement system. You don't leave games ever saying to yourself, I don't believe that the team that lost was the better team. Like, that's not proof that the Seahawks are better. They just won that game.
But you started the show clamoring for a best of 3, and they've had a best of 3 this season, and the Seahawks have won 2 of them. And I understand they're close, but I think I have enough representative sample to suggest that Seattle's better.
I'm giving you 50 years of quarterback stats against number 1 defenses, and Stafford's lost the 2 of the 4 quarterbacks that have played in that game. Like, that's an obvious statistical outlier.
Better quarterback, better team though, is the discussion, and I think we have enough to say Seattle. After what we saw from Sam Darnold, one of the great reclamation stories in sports, I get it. It was super impressive, incredible moment by Stafford gutting that play out, but this is Sam Darnold's time. This is Seattle's time.
I've been having this argument since high school with friends of mine about the way that we decide games, where after those games are played, everyone just says, Seattle and the Patriots are better. And I'm like, I don't know that. I don't, because a guy who was on the practice squad the night before tips a 46-yard kick in the snow, and Sean Payton doesn't go for it or doesn't kick a field goal
that guy.
on 4th and short. Like, and every time I do it, the normalization of the 1-game sample as a measurement is so normal that it's always a losing argument for me. Anytime I do it, because you guys want that to be proof that someone's better. That was not proof that someone's better to me.
They played a game and a team won. I hear you. You could probably feel pretty good about your opinion that LA Rams are better than Seattle, but that's not what the sport is. The sport is played between the lines, and you have to execute in the time that sport allows, and a team comes out on top. And
Mike,
that's the business.
I'm not actually arguing that the Rams are better. I'm saying there's not a difference between those two teams. One of them has to win and one of them has to lose, and that's the way we do it.
Yeah, by playing the game.
Head to head.
That's all that matters, is head-to-head. These two teams just played, and the Seahawks have lost a total of 3 games by 9 points. You keep doing this with the Rams and all of the games that they've lost close. They also have 6 one-score wins, including both of their playoff wins. Like, they could have easily been a team that missed the playoffs. We've talked all year long with the Chiefs about how it's not really a skill to win those one-score games. Some go your way, some don't. And the Rams' defense is abysmal. They have a great offense, but they don't have a good defense. The Seahawks are clearly the better football team, and it would have been a shame if that number 1 defense didn't get an opportunity.
They're not clearly anything. Like, get out of here.
They have the best defense. They've won 2 out of 3 against the Rams. Even with Sam Darnold as their quarterback, they're the better football team. They've won more games, and they've won 2 out of 3. Head-to-head's what matters.
A punt returner dropped a punt.
This is provocative. I'm not sure what you're doing on this day.
No, I'm doing. I'm
this
telling
is
you.
a strange place to take it.
To Dan's point, though, it took a ball bouncing off a helmet and then going into the end zone and somebody picking it up for the Seahawks to win the game on Thursday night. And then a drop punt here on a guy who almost muffed a punt earlier in the game. He dropping that and then them going in for a score.
Rams against the number 1 defense in football, 2 games, 6 in Seattle, 2 games in Seattle, 64 points, 1,060 yards.
Head to head.
1 turnover, 0-2 record. And it's fine. Like, I'm not actually bothered by this in any way. I'm just saying that the Super Bowl was played yesterday by the 2 best teams in football.
I think Seattle's going to smoke them. I really do.
But Mike Macdonald is good against young quarterbacks. Young quarterbacks don't do anything. Hell, what he did with 7 defensive linemen to Stafford on that last play that ended Stafford's season, where he puts 7 defensive linemen on the line and then has only 2 of them rush and drops everyone else back into coverage.
Can I tell you the most shocking part of the game yesterday for me, for Mike Macdonald, Seattle Seahawks head coach? I can't be the only one who did not know this. But yesterday, realizing for the very first time that Mike Macdonald, when you spell his name, the D in Macdonald is lowercase. It's not the capital D. It's not Macdonald. It's the M is capitalized, and the rest of the name is lowercase. McDonald.
Like Norm McDonald?
Did you know that?
No.
Put it on the poll. What an interesting thing from yesterday to be shocked by. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Did you know that McDonald spelled his name with a lowercase d?
Zaz, so you had one of the most incredible play calls in the most clutch situation of all time, where you have 7 guys at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah,
you
no.
drop 5 of them. You rush 2 on a quarterback who's expecting to have some sort of open man because he sees 7 guys on the line, and then everybody's double covered for basically the game.
Yep.
And what you took away was a little D.
I want to know who decided this guy needs to have a little D.
I'm with you. That's little D energy from
What
Sasko.
are we doing?
For sure.
Come on, baby.
Here, the way that you do that, the only way to be as successful as Mike Macdonald is to ignore your family. Here he is on the subject of, I simply don't have time to see my kids.
I actually think I'm here less, which is, I wish some of our coaches took that as well, but on Thursdays, I don't get to see Jack throughout the week as much, so Thursdays I try to get, which is today, I try to get home pretty quick to be with him for maybe a half hour before he goes to bed, and then I got a setup at my house where I can go, and then I work on the game plan, but it's able to spend some more time at home and be with Jack, and also it kind of lets you kind of get away from everything and kind of see things from a different perspective, and it keeps you fresh, so it's been helpful. 30
minutes of family time a week keeps you fresh. You have to be sort of lopsided and crazy.
You want to be 14-3, Dan? You want to win good playoff games, Dan? You got to survive. What are you going to do?
Yeah, you can't see your family. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. If you want to be a champion, can you see your family?
You got 30 minutes, an hour maybe. Then got to work on the game plan again.
The Seahawks, Sam Darnold obviously did make everyone eat it yesterday because as much as I'm saying it's a punt return and a punt fumble that was the difference in that game, the actual difference in that game is that Sam Darnold was really good in 3rd and long and 4th down, and Stafford was not. And so I've said now for years, you guys have heard me say for about 10 years, the thing I want most from the quarterback position is if the defense fears me on 3rd and 10. The defense does not feel comfortable even if it is 3rd and 12, and Sam Darnold has become that. The Seattle Seahawks are great at explosive plays. Like, they've been great at explosive plays all year, and it has been wild to watch Sam Darnold turn into this and go blow for blow with Stafford against a defense that is the only one in the league that has bothered him. Like, Sam Darnold is the winningest quarterback in the sport by game over the last 2 years, and the Rams had him solved. And for him to make the evolutions where he needs painkillers in order to play in that game. He got needles because he's got an oblique problem. He couldn't throw deep during practice all week. He couldn't throw the ball. He didn't and couldn't throw the ball downfield all week. And then second pass of the game, he throws it for 40 yards. The reason they won that game is what they did on 3rd down and long, because he crushed them on 3rd and long and made a whole lot of people, including me, eat it because I was doubting that Sam Darnold would show up and be better than Stafford. Never mind Stafford at his best. Better than Stafford at all, and he was better than Stafford at his best. That was Stafford's best game of the playoffs. He was okay in the previous 2 games with a hurt finger. He was great in that game, and it didn't matter.
That for me is the story. Sam Darnold played his best game ever in the NFC Championship game with an oblique injury for a thrower of the football. I understand marveling at what Matthew Stafford does, probably likely MVP if you're to believe the odds on DraftKings Sportsbook, but this was Sam Darnold's moment. And I still think that there is a certain air of skepticism around him, and how can you not love his story? And how he plays, too, because in an era where everyone's so afraid to turn the ball over, Sam Darnold does gun it, dude. Yeah. He turns, he'll throw interceptions, but I do think that it's healthy with him, especially if he's going to stretch the field with that receiver. I was really impressed with Sam Darnold. We'll see what happens in the Super Bowl, because that ends it forever.
I think it's also a masterclass from Kubiak, too, who is incredible as a play caller. You have a lot of these times where they want to run the ball at the end of games. Kubiak's running out play action. He's throwing the ball with 4 minutes left. He's putting JSN in different positions to win, outside, inside, in the backfield. There was a play where JSN catches that touchdown completely wide open, where he runs a scissor route from the running back position, where Cooper Kupp is running a whip route to the other side, and he's basically wide open, and the defender has to choose between 2 guys, and JSN's wide open.
Good organizations. I'm sorry, Zaz, but that's my takeaway from seeing what Seattle had to close the book on Pete Carroll. Russell Wilson had to build itself back, had to find itself. Carroll was there for them trying to tread water with Geno, but they hit the reset button and they got right back to the Super Bowl. Same thing with New England. They hit one of the hardest resets ever, and they're back at the Super Bowl. And I think that's a testament to good franchises, and the ones like the Browns and the Dolphins and the Jets that just struggle with way more chances than these franchises have had to reshape themselves and get back in the game. It's a testament to good ownership and good front offices.
Couple thoughts on Darnold. He's the first quarterback from that famous draft class to get to a Super Bowl, right? It was Darnold, Mayfield, Rosen, Allen, and Lamar Jackson, right? So Darnold's the first one to get to the Super Bowl of that group. And also, has there ever been a starting quarterback in the Super Bowl who's been on 5 teams? Like, this is his 5th team, and he's starting in the Super Bowl. That feels really unheard of for a QB to bounce around like this and to be a starting quarterback.
Let's
in the
think
Super
about
Bowl.
that for a second, because a couple of points I wanted to make off what you guys said. It's forgotten now that the Seahawks wanted Geno Smith back. He didn't want to go back. He wanted to start over somewhere else. So that wasn't even that they got rid of Geno Smith because they wanted to get rid of Geno Smith. They wanted to stay with Geno Smith. What happened yesterday, though, that was interesting to me at the quarterback position is, obviously, we've all gotten used to the Rams trusting Stafford implicitly. the Seahawks trusting Darnold so implicitly with 5 minutes left you're not going to turn the ball over. We know you've got this. We know that we're going to keep throwing on 2nd and 10 and 3rd and 10 when all other teams in the league would be running the ball here. They wouldn't be doing play action here. That part was earned. Sam Darnold has earned that from the Seahawks staff, but it was crazy to watch given what it is that you just said. Going back to what I was saying earlier, though, because I understand why you guys today after that game would say, come on, Dan, the Seahawks are better. You're sure the Patriots are better than the Broncos? Because Stidham, that mistake is the one mistake. That mistake that he made that cost them their season is a mistake of such intergalactic stupidity that it was shocking to see a professional quarterback throw the ball backward when the whole game plan is, Jared, just don't do that. Do anything but that. Don't give them the ball at the 12-yard line because our defense is going to make sure that the Patriots don't go anywhere. The Patriots offense in the last 2 games is as incompetent, and this isn't their fault. It's because the defenses they faced, as mentioned, were so good. But that's as incompetent as an offense can be and get to the Super Bowl. And Jarrett Stidham handed them the game by throwing the ball backward on a pump fake when all he's got to do is throw the ball at the feet of his running back because his only job in that game is don't do that.
I feel like when I say we're not talking about it, I mean everyone who's talked about the game so far, not this show. That's not getting enough attention because all the attention is going toward the Sean Payton, let's go for 4th down instead of kick the field goal up 7-0. Like, that's getting all the attention, not even the Stidham play.
To be fair, though, there's no way that Sean Payton would have known there was a massive blizzard coming.
Why wouldn't he know that?
No, wait a minute.
Why wouldn't he know
wait a minute. Wait, there are a couple of things. Wait a minute, Tony. Your coach has to know that. Never mind no way of knowing that.
Has to know.
Your coach has to know that. On the broadcast, they said something, and I wondered about this too. I don't know how it is that the Patriots come about wearing white uniforms, but when Romo is saying the orange uniforms are easier to see in the snow, the Patriots are simply not going to be able to see where their receivers are. If I'm a coach, have to prepare for the idea that the second half is going to have terrible weather. What do you mean there's no way to know that? There is a way to know that.
You figure you're going to be able to get one more, drive, one more score before things go to hell, and they weren't able to.
Chris Chandler is the name that came up. Most stops.
Really?
Yeah.
The Atlanta Super Bowl?
Yeah, because he played for, I think, for like 6 teams. Gannon is
Wow.
also, Rich Gannon was like a starter at different places. I think that he finally made the Super Bowl with his 4th team over there.
Okay.
It's a good question, though, that you ask. And Chandler ended up losing that Super Bowl by 50 points. And the only thing, and had a great season that season, was exceptional that season. But the only thing I remember from that Super Bowl is Man of the Year Eugene Robinson getting caught on the streets of Biscayne Bay. Can you guys look for me what it is that he was paid in cash back when we took cash in this country? What he paid in cash allegedly as the Man of the Year the night before the Super Bowl to pick up a sex worker because it is one of the most amazing Super Bowl stories any of us have
Before the
ever
internet,
seen.
you know?
Well, it's before the internet. Understand it's before a lot of things, but it's still Biscayne Boulevard. And anyone who knows what Biscayne Boulevard just generally is, it's not where you find a sex worker at midnight that's going to cost you a lot of money. And so
We're still looking for the dollar figure, by the way.
Thank you. You'll find it. I remember it was a paltry sum for those particular services that he was looking for, and he was the Man of the Year, and it's the only thing I remember.
It doesn't take away from him being Man of the Year.
Speaking
One bad night.
Yeah.
before the Super Bowl, it doesn't.
Who among us, Dan?
It
Come on.
doesn't. Wait a minute. It doesn't take away from him being. All right, put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Does propositioning a sex worker the night before the Super Bowl take away from being NFL Man of the Year?
Victimless crime.
$40.
Does that change your opinion at all?
No.
What's the inflation rate there?
That enhances my opinion.
The economy.
40.
That's the inflation. It could be $100. I don't know. Things are more expensive now.
No,
The deal you couldn't pass up.
no, no. $40.
I'm gonna look it up.
Well,
Negotiations.
for those of you who do not know the different parts of Miami, I want to talk about a different part of Miami. The city of Hialeah is offended by the new Netflix movie, The Rip, with Matt Damon and Ben Affleck. They are cops who happen upon a home. They happen upon a home that's got $24 million cash in it, and then the dilemma follows of whether they're going to be ethical or not. And the city of Hialeah doesn't like how it's being portrayed in this movie. And so the city of Hialeah has sent out a statement about the movie The Rip. And I have not seen, Tony, I don't know if you've seen this. Have you seen the city of Hialeah send out a statement, does not like how it's being portrayed to the country in this movie? And I haven't seen the movie yet, but I feel like any movie that portrays Hialeah anyway is going to be accurate, because I'm going to find any of what's being portrayed in any movie in some part of Hialeah.
To be fair, okay, so I saw the movie last night, fun movie. Ben and Matt Damon were great. It actually painted Hialeah in a better light than what reality is. If you want me to be really honest,
It was on a cul-de-sac.
It was on a cul-de-sac. I'm like, those houses are not in Hialeah. There's no 2-story houses like that in a cul-de-sac in Hialeah history. Those don't exist. Those are actually people's different houses that are stacked on top of each other that they built and that are renting out. So it looks better on TV than it is in real life. I didn't see any chickens. I didn't see any people selling water or coconuts on the street. I didn't see any of that.
It's not an accurate portrayal.
It looks like Miami Lakes, which is where the story actually happened.
Right.
The one that inspired the script. And Miami Lakes is close enough to Hialeah. You could still tell that
It's right there.
story.
It's on the borderline.
Why did we change it to Hialeah?
Well, let's hear from Ben Affleck on this. Evidently, he doesn't know yet how to say Hialeah, despite all of the research that he has done. It is not yet something that he knows how to say.
We had a Crime Stopper tip come in after closing. We ran it. Now I'm out here in Hialeah, stuck in the shit.
I mean, yeah.
You mean yeah?
Hialeah.
There's times where I'm watching Heat games, and I'm not going to say the dealership, but they paid somebody that does a voiceover, and they say something in Hialeah, and I'm like, I don't like that.
Hialeah.
Quality control, man.
Hialeah.
You need un guanito in there telling you, oye, Leah, Hialeah.
Hialeah.
That's why you need DEI right there.
Hialeah.
So Ben Affleck doesn't do that. When he researches the town, he goes to prison to talk to people who have robbed banks, and he grabs the stories.
You heard that podcast,
Yeah,
huh?
and when he grabs the stories, one of the stories that he grabs from somebody who was robbing a bank is that the cop just looked the other way when he saw that he was going to be in an incident where 3 people are getting out of a van with shotguns.
That's a good scene.
It's a great
It is
scene.
a good scene, but if he's willing to do that kind of research, shouldn't he do the research that allows him? Shouldn't somebody Hispanic tell him this isn't how you say Hialeah?
Hialeah.
They were dressed as nuns, Dan.
Hialeah.
Hialeah pointed out we're not Miami Lakes in the statement. And you're right. I've never thought of Hialeah as being as wonderful as Miami Lakes.
Hialeah.
It's more colorful.
Hialeah.
It's more cultural.
Hialeah.
It's more Hispanic.
Hialeah.
It's got more dirty businesses and corners.
Hialeah.
But I didn't think that Hialeah would be offended by being compared to Miami Lakes.
Hialeah.
Also, you get put on the big screen. You're talking about millions and millions and hundreds of millions of people knowing about your city. Brian Cowell, sir, please wake up.
Hialeah.
There is nothing that has happened to the economy more shocking to me than Hialeah
Hialeah.
being the 5th least affordable housing market in America.
Welcome to Miami, Dan.
Hialeah.
I understand that Miami's the worst, that Miami is the worst here, but Hialeah, come on, you guys, come on.
There is this one house in Hialeah
Hialeah.
that looks like a Leon Medical Center.
Yeah.
So I think the lore around it is like the person like won some sort of lottery and decided, no, I'm Hialeah through and through, and I'm just gonna soup up a compound in the middle of this Hialeah neighborhood.
Hialeah.
The weird part about Hialeah is that there's different streets that are different directions, right? So there's West 84th Street, but Northwest 37th Street. And you're like, wait, how is this the same street
You have
with
to go
different
out.
numbers?
You have to go out there and do a Tony. You have to
You want me
do
to go tomorrow?
a Tony's top 5.
You want to do my top 5 tomorrow?
Well, I want you to show people that the addresses don't make sense. Waze is not going to help you. Satellite systems and AI.
There's streets that are
not gonna
literal
help you.
90-degree angles
No.
that you have to do a 90-degree angle, and you're like, I can't turn my car this way.
I told you one of the most impressive things I've ever seen my dad do, and he called himself El Raton de Hialeah.
Hialeah.
Is that he found me a spare tire for my car for $10. Like, yeah, $10 by going down a side alley and just a door opened and somebody threw a tire at him, $10 cash, and that's what happened. Tony, did Ben Affleck also screw up in the movie Dale?
Yeah, a little bit.
Hialeah.
After a blank space on the calendar, Formula One is back in Azerbaijan despite its reputation for tight corners and narrow roads. F1 is putting a sprint race in Baku. On Saturday, Charles Leclerc is fearless in pole position as the sprint begins. But at the start, London boy George Russell delivers some karma to Max Verstappen, making him a move to push him wide. Max is red, but George says, "Don't blame me." Number 22 Yuki Tsunoda clips the wall and loses a tire after just 2 laps. At the restart, Sergio Perez has a lead with 5 laps left. It's time to go. Checo wins the sprint race, but Max and George have bad blood when the race ends. You guys see what I'm doing yet? Will there be vigilante shit on Sunday?
This
Max,
is amazing.
You need to calm down because it's lights out and away we go in Baku. Sparks fly, and Verstappen is driving like he's in a getaway car and pulls out into the lead. Long story short, Nick DeVries has a glitch and a safety car ensues. Perez is in the lead after a slew of pit stops, but he's not out of the woods yet. The one driver, Max Verstappen, has speed, but that's when Sergio Perez says, "Bye-bye, baby." As the race ends, Esteban Ocon goes into the pit, but the mastermind race organizers have let press onto the treacherous pit lane. This is why we can't have nice things. 7-time champion Lewis Hamilton finishes 6th. The last great American dynasty, Haas, finishes out of the points, but today was a fairy tale for Sergio Perez. Verstappen finishes in 2nd, which is better than revenge. 1-2 for Red Bull is nothing new. They don't have champagne problems on the podium, but the anti-hero Max Verstappen is only ahead in the Drivers' Championship by 6 points. Fernando Alonso and Taylor Swift rumors are swirling. Long live Formula One. Max Verstappen has won the Drivers' Championship, but we still have 4 races to go. In Austin, Daniel Ricciardo rides a horse named Horsey McHorseface into the paddock. Zach Brown accuses Christian Horner of cheating, and Fort Lauderdale's own Logan Sargent will join Williams in 2023. During quali, Carlos Sainz takes the fastest lap while his teammate Charles Leclerc takes a grid penalty. Martin Brundle gets snubbed by Brad Pitt. Tim Apple doesn't know how to wave a flag. 440,000 people are at the Circuit of the Americas. It's lights out and away we go. On turn 1, Max Verstappen gets ahead of Carlos Sainz, and Sainz tries to recover, but gets hit by George Russell. The Spaniard is out of the race before the 1 lap is even over, and Russell takes a 5-second penalty. Valtteri Bottas' race ends early, and a safety car helps out Charles Leclerc for once. Fernando Alonso and Lance Stroll get in a massive collision, and debris is everywhere. Lewis Hamilton, on hard tires, leads the race with 10 laps to go, but the Flying Dutchman cannot be beat this year. It's Verstappen, Hamilton, and Leclerc. Sebastian Vettel battles to the finish in his final USGP. Baby Lando finishes 6th, and Yuki gets a point. Red Bull wins the Constructors' Championship for the first time in 10 years, a day after their founder's passing. People are crying, there's champagne flowing, fireworks are popping off. Everything is bigger in Texas, Dan, except for F1 drivers.
I guess it's time for the F1 minute here, even though I want to hear that sound
gave it
again.
away?
Je suis stressé pour les minutes de Formula 1. J'ai besoin d'énergie. Énergie.
Let's go, energy.
Oh, energy.
Bonjour et bienvenue à Circuit Paracas pour le Grand Prix de France. Les températures élevées sur le circuit signifient que la gestion des tuyaux va être essentielle. Charles Leclerc, le pilote automobile monégasque, fait face à Max Verstappen pour la première place. Le pilote Ferrari doit gagner pour rester dans les championnats. Mais non! Quelle horreur! Une catastrophe! Sacré bleu! Charles Leclerc sort de la course! Encore de la malchance! Il est...
This episode of the Dan Le Batard Show is presented by DraftKings. DraftKings, the crown is yours.
Hialeah.
Since the Dolphins have won a playoff game, the Patriots have not merely 10 Super Bowl appearances, they've got 17 AFC East titles and 6 Super Bowl wins. And I will say again, when it comes to the ego of coaches and in general, how often people think that they are responsible for their own success without granting the idea that a lot of luck is involved and that you have to have a lot of support. You have to admit that Bill Belichick 6 years ago could not have imagined a scenario where there's a 10-part docuseries that rips him for not being as responsible for those victories as you might think, that also has Tom Brady winning a Super Bowl by beating Aaron Rodgers, Drew Brees, and who was the third quarterback? There was 3 great and Mahomes. And Mahomes, he beats 3 quarterbacks and some of them on the road to win the Super Bowl. And then after that the Patriots would get one of his former linebackers and that Vrabel would turn into one of the sport's great coaches, that they wouldn't need Belichick at all to get back there.
And don't forget, with a quarterback that, according to legend, you told your social media staff to not post about because he's a Tar Heel, but he's doing it with the Patriots, and that makes Daddy look bad.
So I don't think he's the same quarterback that the stats are rolling around on Macdonald, how good he is against quarterbacks who are under 24 years old. I think Drake May is a unique talent at the position, but there are good, valid reasons to question how good that Patriots team is. And I wondered yesterday, I assumed that Patriot fans would fear Stafford more and not want the Rams to advance, but what they should fear is what Seattle's defensive line is going to do to cave in the right side of their offensive line, which is injured, because that is incompetence, what you have seen from the Patriot offense to advance to the Super Bowl. Rare, outside of Trent Dilfer's Ravens, I have rarely seen a team be this kind of incompetent in offense the last 2 games and get to the Super Bowl. It's not, and those Raven teams had to injure Rich Gannon on the road in order to do that by having Tony Siragusa just fall down on Rich Gannon in a way that injured the MVP.
I'm hearing us talk this game out, and I guess the general feeling is that Seattle rolls, right?
You know what that sets up for?
Mike Vrabel, live doggy.
Live dog.
Counted out live doggy in the sport's biggest game. I'm just saying.
Wouldn't you think, though, that the Rams were fearing most Stafford, correct? The Patriots were fearing most Stafford advancing to the next game, that they would have preferred to play against Sam Darnold than Stafford, no?
I don't know.
Yeah, I don't.
Yeah, is that a bad answer?
It's terrible.
I don't know.
I
don't know. I don't see Mike Vrabel and his staff like, geez, I hope it's.
I'm talking about fans. I was talking about Patriot fans.
I think they'd be more afraid of Seattle because we know Seattle's defense is great. The Rams' defense, not so good. And the Patriots, like you said, offensively have struggled against really good defenses these last couple of weeks. So I think they probably would have actually rather seen Rams.
It's also been, not to be the weather guy, but it's also been the weather, right? When they played against Houston a couple weeks ago, there was slushy, wintry mix that they really couldn't get the field going.
But the score was 10-7 at the end of the third quarter before it even started snowing.
That's the conference championship game. I'm talking about 2 weeks ago in Houston where it was slushing and raining and wet and cold, and then the week after they have another weather anomaly. So it's like you're looking at these 2 games, it's like, well, you don't have your full offense out there to be able to do the things you want to do. He's the best deep ball thrower in the league and hasn't been able to throw deep ball in 2 weeks.
It is a nice word, Jeremy. I don't know if it was a right word, but it was a nice word.
Oh, no,
it is. He did good.
It's the right word.
Zaz loves and has told us he loves low-scoring games, defensive
I enjoyed that
games.
game very much.
Oh, my God.
Yeah. Did you watch it, or are you a big phony?
No, I did watch it.
Big phony.
I am a big phony. I did end up watching it, and
of course you did.
I regretted those 3 hours of my life. Why would you love that game?
Because every play
it wasn't
huge.
snowing, Dan, and then it was snowing. Like,
That's like the tale of 2 games.
Exactly right. Tale of 2 halves.
I was hating from the sidelines, and then I saw that single camera shot following Stidham as he's there on the field with his family, and his kids are hugging him,
Family.
and he's stretching out, and they're just like, it's great cinematography. The camera just swoops around a stadium full of people.
You know
I'm like,
about that cinematography?
this is such a cool story.
And then he throws
Steady
a
up.
dot, and then he throws a dot over to Marvin Mims Jr. for 55 yards. And you're like, oh my God, there's no way it's going to happen. Sean Payton's going to do it with Jared Stidham.
With his 90s ass hair.
Oh, wow.
Then he threw it back.
Danny Tanner
guys,
looking hair.
I cannot be alone in this room of thinking that game was an abomination.
Nope, loved it.
And put me in the weird position of rooting for the Patriots because I did not want Stidham in the Super Bowl. Like, for what? For what? Why would I want to watch that? Like, you're ruining the entire game for me. At least this time I can pretend that Vrabel and the Patriots have a chance, and I can talk myself into all football games are close because football's crazy that way. I couldn't have done it if Denver had been in the Super Bowl against either one of those two teams I watched in the later game yesterday. The Denver might have slowed and tried to muck up a Rams or Seattle Super Bowl, but they wouldn't have had a chance with Stidham like that. I'm telling you, there are very few quarterbacks in the history of the league that game plan the way that the Broncos game plan and make the mistake that Stidham made in that situation. Like, that is... you cannot make that mistake. Like, you can turn the ball over down the field. You cannot inside of your own 15-yard line when your defense is playing like that, when clearly the weather and the home field are going to help you later in the game. You cannot make that mistake as a competent quarterback. And Rex Ryan said this morning on Get Up, that's why he will be a backup the remainder of his career and will never be a starter. But I wanted to ask you about another.
Way to put yourself
What a
out there.
take! The guy who hasn't thrown a pass in 2 years. Backup.
The career backup's going to be a career backup. Get out of town.
The thing that I wanted to ask you about Rex Ryan, though, is when he dismisses, he was talking about the Sean Payton play and the fact that Sean Payton went for it on 4th and short and failed when he could have gotten a 10-0 lead instead of a 7-0 lead. And his defense is obviously exceptional, and that front four is as good as any that has played the game statistically in terms of applying pressure. When he sees his beloved game turn into a different thing where coaches are going for it more and more on 4th and short, and he yells about these nerd dudes the way that Tony Dungy does, that lands on me wrong every single time that these dinosaurs keep shaking a fist about how they used to do it because they don't like the change. How do you absorb Rex Ryan being on television and just pounding people with these nerd dudes because all they're doing is applying the facts of math, and he wants to eliminate them because he's the coach who prefers caveman. He wants to beat you over the head with a club instead of listening to just the probabilities of math. Clearly, Rex Ryan is scared of math, and it's confusing to me.
Well, here's the irony of the way Rex Ryan feels, because he's a caveman, okay? And so he doesn't like the nerd boy stuff. The nerd boy stuff is being aggressive.
Super.
It's them wanting to actually be tough.
And it's
like,
short yardage, line of scrimmage battles. It lends itself to the caveman mentality.
Rex
That's why,
Ryan
hell,
actually,
even Mario Cristobal became like super aggressive.
Like Rex Ryan with his caveman tough guy football does the opposite of tough. He punts on 4th and 1, or he runs the ball so they can use up the clock instead of Darnold throwing the ball at the end of the game so they can pick up the first down, or going for 4th and short. It's like the nerd boys are actually the ones playing tough guy, aggressive football. Rex Ryan's the coward in those spots.
And there's not that many cavemen left in head coaching, right? In the NFL, you look around the league and you're like, there's only a handful of guys that are not going to do that thing. That are not going to go for it on 4th and 1, 4th and 2, 4th and 3. And we're going to see that move over into the media space too, where all these guys who played the game and coached the game a certain way, now they're going to just age out. Everybody's going to be like, yeah, that doesn't work anymore. What we need is the new people that are talking about analytics. They're talking about going forward on 4th and 4 in a short yard situation.
The idea that you would age out so close-mindedly that you would be like Greg Cody against learning seems to run against what the definition of coaching is supposed to be. The Steelers just hired Mike McCarthy. He is viewed as one of those cavemen, but he has evolved, and he was somebody who was changing the way that he was applying his ideas to fourth downs.
It's just bewildering. Crazy. That of all people, Mike McCarthy has been the head coach for the Packers, Cowboys, and now the Steelers. These are crown jewel franchises, and he is such an ordinary man.
This signaled to me, I thought, a desire to lure Aaron Rodgers into another season.
But wasn't there a schism with McCarthy and Rodgers?
I read that book with my ears. I don't think this sweetens the pot for Aaron.
Yeah, I'm not sure it does either.
Okay, I don't know. I just assumed that. But the thing that was most confusing to me about everything that happened there is how weird for Mike Tomlin to leave without any fanfare, without any press conference, without any interview, without any saying goodbye to Pittsburgh. Like you have a coach who has no losing seasons for 19 years, and he slips out a side door. And I'm not sure what his contract status was. Like, did he leave money on the table in order to? So he just leaves the job with no fanfare. The Steelers have had 3 coaches in their history. How is it possible?
No. They haven't had 3 coaches in their history.
Yeah, this is a common mistake that you made. I mean,
100-year-old team.
But
no,
they
since the 70s, since the merger. Since the merger, fine.
I know you're giving me the hand dismissal. I'm trying to help you, pal.
That's not helpful to me.
Yes, because everyone's like, Dan's an idiot. I'm like, no, he's not. Come on, use your eyes.
There wasn't football. There wasn't real football until the merger. Like all the stats are after the merger. Like it's not.
Yeah.
Okay, you want to cite the 1940s?
Hey,
okay,
I'm speaking for the ops. All right, that's all I'm doing.
What
did you want? The end of season.
You
wanted the end of season.
I like that, Dan. Let's
press
go.
conference. The way that Tony Donato had it for the Miami Sharks, where he surprises everybody. I'm gonna control Albuquerque, and I've signed Willie Beaman as my quarterback.
This guy does a good.
It's a game of inches.
How did it surprise everybody in the room? Wait, there's an expansion franchise. Tony Donato's operating it, and he just signed Willie Beaman, and he's breaking all these things to us at the same time, in front of John C. McGinley.
They're terrible reporters. Not a single one of them could have had the scoop.
He punched one of those reporters.
There was an eyeball on the field in any given
I would have had that
Sunday.
scoop, Dan.
It is weird
Journalist over
that we are so bad at making football movies, given how
That movie
popular the
sucks.
sport is. Well, there just aren't very many. Like, you're going to have a hard time. Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Can you name in the history of film 5 good football movies? An eyeball on the field does not look realistic.
I loved that movie when it came out, Dan, Any Given Sunday. Boog Shambi used to give me a hard time for my love of that movie. And about 2 years ago, my older son, I was like, you want to watch a great movie? Let's watch Any Given Sunday. You're going to love this. So we sat on the couch. I didn't see it in 15 years. So we sat on the couch together. We put it on. About 20 minutes in, we looked at each other. I'm like, this movie sucks.
What?
And we stopped
What are you
watching.
doing?
No, the movie's great.
What are you doing?
It really
sucks.
hits the ground running, too.
Movie sucks.
You don't like football, do
You
you?
don't, man, that's a great movie. It's a great movie.
Can you guys look up for me? Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is on Any Given Sunday a great movie? And look up for me whatever details you can find about the LL Cool J, Jamie Foxx fight offset in that movie. Because I am surprised that football hasn't had more good movies made about it in the history of film. I had the same experience. Have you guys had this experience? Can you guys name some of the movies in your life that you've gone back to revisit that you saw at one age and then saw later? Because the movie Warriors, I saw in whenever it was, the late 70s, early 80s, and then I revisited it 20 years later, and it doesn't actually hold up. I had a very bad experience with it, watching it 20 years later. Mac Hollins showed up yesterday. He was dancing in the huddle before the one good play in that game, the flea flicker that they threw the ball to him. He appeared at the game dressed up as, is it Cyrus? Is Cyrus the guy that was clicking bottles in the Warriors saying, Warriors, come out and play. Go ahead and show people the footage of Mac Hollins. I had no proof there were any wide receivers in that football game, in the early game played yesterday. I can't believe that Zaslow liked that football game.
I did.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. did you like watching Patriots Broncos? There just can't be anybody that liked watching Patriots Broncos. How is that possible?
Of course, Smash
Right here.
Mouth football.
Yeah,
Right
but it
here.
wasn't. What do you mean smash? It was just run the ball.
It's Smash Mouth football.
But it's run the ball in the line. Nobody can move. Nobody can see anything. It's stupid. It's a stupid
It's a
way to
game of
decide.
chess.
It's a stupid
Thank
way
you,
to
Zaz.
decide who gets to the Super Bowl. A backup quarterback playing, throwing the ball backwards like that. That was not.
Do we know if that was a pass or a fumble?
I mean, it was ruled a fumble, wasn't it? It was a behind the line.
Warriors, come out to play.
Does Matt Collins know that that was the bad guy and that guy lost in Warriors?
Again, that's
Probably
a play
not.
on. Doesn't matter.
Not.
Spoiler alert.
Yeah, man.
Movie came out 45 years ago.
Did any of you watch Skyscraper this
Hell
weekend?
yeah!
Is that the one where The Rock has a peg leg?
Yup.
We don't
You
say
see,
peg
he
leg
jumped
anymore.
from the scaffold to the building, and he actually his trajectory went up.
With a peg leg. Does it
Yeah.
have like a special like hydraulic thing
I
in it,
don't
or
know.
no?
That's a good question.
We can't say peg leg?
No.
What? Since when?
The great Jeremy Taché sticking up for me.
I'm an ally.
We can say peg leg, guys. Come on.
Skyscraper.
Great movie.
I wasn't talking about the movie.
Is he hanging out from a helicopter in that movie, or is that a different movie?
I was watching it on
That's
mute.
Hobbs and Shaw.
Oh, gotcha.
I was watching it on mute. What kind of
peg leg.
expertise did Seth Rollins bring to the
Hobbled.
proceedings, other than energy? But as it built towards the end, did Seth Rollins have something like in terms of analysis?
Seth Rollins wasn't in that. Nev Campbell was in it.
Ooh,
not
Nev
Seth
Campbell.
Rollins.
For those of you who do not know, because they can't stop getting off their skyscraper jokes in the Rock movie, that's not what I was talking about.
Oh.
I was talking about Netflix doing what is, every 5 or 10 years we do something like this where you're going to...
Guy's gonna climb this thing. And we're like, wait, what?
A famed rock climber is going to
So
do
high.
a daredevil stunt live on television where he's going to... They had to cancel it the day before. It was supposed to be the day before, but inclement weather, which is affecting
Anomaly.
everywhere except Miami in the United States, made it so that it was unsafe to... climb a skyscraper without ropes or nets, which
And-
I would say it's always unsafe to do that, but evidently there's weather that makes it more unsafe.
Well, and you got to take into account, Dan, there was a fire, like in the middle of the building. Now, Rock didn't know because he was like higher up, and it was like the world's tallest building. And also, he helped design it, okay? That's kind of how, he knew his way around. But there was a massive fire, like in the middle of the building. So maybe that played a role, too, in not being able to climb it.
I am sick watching this, okay? As I'm watching what he's doing here and seeing the amount of wind that is making, his name is Alex Hanold, and he is doing something here that it makes me queasy to watch this because of the height, obviously, the danger, and the only reason you'd be watching it, correct?
Not his name. His name was Will Sawyer.
Is to see if he'll fall or not, right? I saw you had to look that up. You didn't
What?
remember off the top of your head like all of the great characters in movie history. Mike Ryan just summoned the name of the coach on Any Given Sunday
Tony
from
Donato.
25 years ago. You had to look up The Rock's character name in Skyscraper.
Everyone knows.
Because what do you mean? I just
Will
saw you look
Sawyer.
it up. I just saw.
Just wanted to be sure.
He's a journalist, Dan.
None of you watch this?
It was the worst. It was the worst kept secret of all time. Like nobody, I didn't even know what was happening. Nobody said to me, "Hey, there's a guy climbing the tallest building in the world." I was like, "Oh, sick." Nobody said that until after I saw that he reached the top, and I was like, "Oh, okay, he did it."
Yesterday, when you say poorly kept secrets, I learned yesterday, not that I didn't totally understand it, but it became a factoid that taught me yesterday. I did not know that Patrick Dempsey was a hitman on a television show until seeing the commercial for
yeah.
it during football
I
yesterday.
need to
was
apologize. It's Tony D'Amato.
Oh, you idiot.
Not
you
Donato.
got it wrong.
I said Donato. It's
Oh
D'Amato.
my God! How embarrassed
Like
are you
cuss?
right now?
I'm pretty embarrassed. Because other than that, I was nailing my trivia. By the way, Jeremy has an update on the LL Cool J Jamie Foxx fight.
Yeah, they were supposed to be getting into a heated argument on the sidelines when they were in character. But then Jamie Foxx was getting frustrated because LL Cool J was being just a little too aggressive with him during the scene. So when they went to do a second take, LL Cool J was even more aggressive with him. So then Jamie Foxx punched him in the face. And so he was like, hey, why'd you do that? And he was like, you want to see why? And he had a helmet on. And then he stood there in a fighting stance. And so LL Cool J ripped his helmet off and punched him in the face and knocked him out cold.
In his defense, though, Willie was changing the plays in the huddle. He wasn't executing the plays that coaches were calling.
Steamin' Willie Beaman.
Steamin' Willie
Like Drake
Beaman,
May.
and LL Cool J was upset because that's eaten into his bonus. Like, why didn't you get the ball there? He's changing the plays in the huddle, coach. And then that fight happened in the sauna where Lawrence Taylor looks terrifying.
Jeremy, can you look up for me if Jim Brown was body slammed during that altercation trying to separate them? Because that LL Cool J tells that story with some pride. Jamie Foxx does not. What do you make of the fact that Mina Kimes, a very ardent Seahawks fan, tweeted this offseason after the Seahawks traded Geno Smith, quote, flat out, this is a terrible move by Seattle. Chances of upgrading are extremely low, end quote. Did you guys hear or see a lot of Sam Darnold supporters at any point? Did you? Who are the Sam Darnold believers and the people who can say, like Mike Macdonald does today, oh, Sam shut everybody up. He just had, in the biggest game of his life, the best game of his life. One of the best games a quarterback has ever had under any circumstances. Sam Darnold just had it. You cannot beat Matthew Stafford at his best unless Sam Darnold has that game on 3rd and 4th down.
It's basically Macdonald and Kubiak are the two guys who can be like, yeah, I told you so. We saw something in Sam. We knew that it was going to translate into our offense. But if you thought in the beginning of the year that I just saw on ESPN, they were 60-1 to win the Super Bowl. And you look at what they did in the offseason, you're like, all right, you get rid of Geno Smith, you bring in Sam Darnold. This offensive line is young. It's not that good. Their defensive line has gotten better. Their defense is okay. Mike Macdonald's going to do a good job there. But offensively, I didn't know if JSN could be a number 1 wide receiver. Boy, did he prove us wrong.
Player.
He's the best wide receiver in the NFL. And you look at Ken Walker, and you're like, he's kind of gotten hurt sometimes. Sam Darnold, you don't know what you're going to get if it was Kevin O'Connell in Minnesota, or is it really Sam Darnold? And now with 30 wins under his belt the last 2 years, most winning quarterback in the NFL, you can stands to reason, all right, Sam Darnold's actually pretty good.
Vikings must feel terrible, right?
I mean, they're not the only ones. There are any number of people who could have had that as their quarterback. When I keep giving you the stat again and again that the Patriots have done what they have done in the last 25 years since the Dolphins have won a playoff game, half the teams in the league could regret not getting Sam Darnold, and all of them could have had Sam Darnold. Even Seattle wanted Geno Smith to come back. Like that was a Geno Smith call. Geno Smith and Pete Carroll thought that it would be something that they could just recreate with the Raiders. And as far as reclamation projects go, that's a super interesting one to me, because if you take that quarterback in the top 5 and you just simply watch him yesterday, you see all the things that you need to see about, oh, that's magical arm strength. That's amazing accuracy. That's pocket awareness. But I'm also used to that coming with 3 interceptions in a game when I trust it. I'm used to that panicking in the pocket when the pass rush gets ferocious. The stat I gave earlier on the Rams defense, like allowing points on 40% of your drives in the last 9 games, like that doesn't deserve to be in the Super Bowl. Like you need superhuman MVP play from your quarterback in order to overcome that. The thing to me that's amazing about yesterday is it wasn't a defensive game. Seattle's number 1 defense did not play like it. Gave you no evidence. Anybody tuning in for the first time to watch yesterday what's allegedly the number 1 defense in the league, look, when I watch Denver play, I see a great defense. When I see Houston play, I see a great defense. I'm watching yesterday, no evidence of a good defense, never mind a great defense. Where was the evidence? It's not. They didn't bother Stafford. There wasn't like huge pass rush. There wasn't anything about that Seattle defense that gave off special yesterday.
They came up with the big play in the big moment. I mean, 4th down on the goal line.
But with a gimmick, they did it.
That's not a gimmick, Dan. That's a scheme. That's situationally great football. You win in the margins in the NFL. I mean, yeah, you're going to let up a ton of points to one of the best offenses, but in the clutch situations, in the places where you need to get a stop, they were able to do what they needed to do.
You say that, but Parkinson dropped a ball that would have been that he would have just run into the he would have walked into the end zone with the ball.
It's about who wins.
I understand.
It's not about who you think is better. It's about who wins.
I'm not saying it's about who I think is better, and I'm going to again tell you that it's not that I think the Rams are better. It's that I don't think there's any difference between those two teams, and if they played 100 times, it wouldn't surprise me if each of them won 50 times.
And in their same division, if San Francisco doesn't, work by a power plant, electrical substation, and have all those EMF situations, who's to say San Francisco is not better than both of them?
The thing about the measurements that is interesting to me in that sport is that it's more random than all of the others. Like even hockey and baseball, which could be wildly random, the sample size isn't one game. They give you 5 to 7 games to decide something. And Jeremy gave you the stats earlier of what's happened when the Rams and the Seahawks have played. Never mind the last 3 times this season. In the entirety of them playing, the difference between those teams throughout their history isn't anything. They are separated this year by a fourth down, by a call is the difference that Seattle goes to the Super Bowl and the Rams don't. And to me, that is kind of nuts that both games yesterday and football in general is so close that you can go into any one of the games, change one of the plays, and change the entirety of the result. And history doesn't remember any of it because we do simplify it right down to it doesn't matter who should have won, who could have won. The only thing we care about is who did win.
I mean, basketball is kind of the only sport where that doesn't apply.
Well, one game samples, like you can get to one game samples, but it's a game 7. Like generally speaking, we have series as a more accurate measurement, something that at least reduces improbabilities. It can also happen there, but if the thing that's frustrating to me about this conversation today, because it's been so normalized, this is how we measure it in football, and it's just how it is. That if I gave you right now Seattle's up 2-1 in a 7-game series between the Rams and Seattle, none of you would count the Rams out. Like you simply, none of you would do it because there isn't much of a difference between what those two teams were this season and the last time. Like this one at least wasn't fluky. This is the one that Seattle was most impressive in. You know what's funny about this? Seattle might have been the most impressive of all of them in the first one, the one they lost because they had 4 turnovers and were still kicking a field goal at the end to win the game on the road. So the most impressive one of the Seattle defense was certainly the first one. It wasn't the second one, and it wasn't the third one because Seattle's defense over the last month hadn't allowed a 20-yard play. In the last month, they were the best defense in the sport like they were all year, but they were not in this game. How many people before this game, never mind Mina Kimes getting it wrong or everybody getting it wrong or me getting it wrong, how many people before this game would have signed up for the bet Seattle's defense is going to get ransacked and Sam Darnold's just going to be better than Matthew Stafford? Because this was the most lopsided one Seattle had. If not for a dumb, unsportsmanlike call, they were up 31-20 and could have just handled the rest of the game because there was no circumstance under which the Rams were going to be stopping Sam Darnold on this day. They weren't even bothering him. There weren't a bunch of dropped interceptions. There was like one bad throw that Sam Darnold made that could have been picked off. This was, of the games, this was the most impressive one Seattle played.
Can I defend Mina Kimes for a second? All she said in that tweet was, letting go of Geno Smith's a mistake. It's going to be really difficult to upgrade. She didn't say they're not going to upgrade. She didn't know they were going to sign Sam Darnold to be really difficult to upgrade. But guess what? They did. They surpassed that difficulty.
On a bargain deal, it looks like now, right?
Yeah.
If you win the Super Bowl, what did they paid him $100 million?
I don't think she was wrong.
She was wrong.
No, she thought it would be difficult to upgrade.
It was difficult, but they did it.
Yeah, it was difficult and they did it.
So Bill Bellamy says that during that fight, Jim Brown was not body slammed. It was a separate altercation because there used to be chess played on set, and that Jim Brown with some of the young guys who were ex-football players, he specifically said a couple of guys who were from Liberty City in particular, he used to get very sarcastic, hey, You sure you want to use that queen here in this situation? And it just started to really rub guys the wrong way, and they had no idea who Jim Brown was. And so ultimately, the next day, after one of those times where a guy had gotten frustrated, just as simple as walking up to Jim Brown, picking him up, body slamming him right on set.
I regard the original Longest Yard as the best football movie ever made, but I'm guessing that Jeremy and Tony haven't even seen it, and I'm wondering if it holds up, given that it's a movie from the 1970s.
The Burt Reynolds one?
The one with Sandler?
No, that's not the original.
That's a horrible movie.
That's not the original one. With McCheesy? No, that's not. That is not.
No,
the
Burt
original.
Reynolds is the original.
Burt Reynolds is in both of them, but
right.
Burt Reynolds was the star of the original, and I think Adam Sandler and who else was in the second? Michael
Chris
Irvin.
Rock.
Michael Irvin was one of the
Terry
stars.
Crews.
Stone Cold.
But so
Bill Goldberg.
But Jeremy and Tony have no idea what the original 1977 Longest Yard is, right? Do you imagine that it would hold up? Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Is the original Longest Yard the best football movie ever made? And does the original Longest Yard hold up in 2026?
Ooh, that final scene where Burt Reynolds was going to pick up that football. It doesn't. Ooh, that was tense.
Spoiler alert.
It's not the best football movie ever made. Friday Night Lights is.
Remember the Titans. What are we doing?
The last scene, Remember the Titans
you
blows
can't, it can't be Remember the Titans. You can't fool the district coach champion that's a legend with a double reverse 80 yards.
80-yard end around.
You're not even throwing the ball. You're just. I mean, Sunshine. Look, Sunshine wasn't that fast, and the blocking on that play was ridiculous. You can't have an 80-yard reverse as the climax
ruins
of the movie.
Weird time to argue against Remember the Titans.
Between living and dying.
I'm a Varsity Blues man.
You can't be.
Yeah.
Little Giants. Come on.
Varsity Blues,
You
baby.
can't be. You can't. What are you now? You're
She's got the
Christopher
whipped cream.
Walken.
Cock of the
again?
walk, baby.
She's got the whipped cream. Yeah, come on.
Hey, come on. They go out of a place,
How
and
they
then all
are.
of a sudden it's daytime, and they're like, oh, no, we got a game.
Do you know that because of Varsity Blues and somehow the popularity of that movie, that thing that those kids did where they laid on a highway?
No, that's the program. That was the program.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm
Great movie,
confusing. No, neither of these.
Yeah.
are
Oh,
great.
how dare
What are
you?
you doing about Varsity
How
Blues? Come
dare
on.
you?
Can you think you can name 5 great football movies? Do you think you think that you could come up in the history of film? Because if you're going to give the program great, then you can do it.
The
But
program. Are you hurt? You injured?
the story I was going to tell about the program that I confused with Varsity Blues. Both of them had a stereotypical fat guy in them, right? Both of them, of course.
Yeah, okay.
Both of them used.
You mean a down lineman? Yes.
The high school kids getting drunk, laying on a highway, and allowing cars to drive over them. That was something that kids were actually starting to do because of that.
They
movie.
took it out of the movie. Like, I've never seen the movie. I've never seen the version of the movie with that scene. They took it out.
Became an 80s cliche, hiding under public transit. Who can forget the Lost Boys? Clinging to that train track as a train roared overhead. Fly with us, Michael.
It's a great movie. Boy, you're on a roll this morning, man.
Do you think we wouldn't get consensus? I guess we wouldn't in the room. Roy, do you have a nominee for what it is that you would think is the best football movie ever made? Because these guys are selecting from the discount bin of slop because they are
You're
picking
nuts.
all of you. I mean,
Slop?
you cannot
How are
say
you
Varsity
calling
Blues.
Remember the Titans?
He's trying to be provocative.
Are you
today.
crazy?
Varsity Blues cannot be
a great
one of
movie.
the great football.
This is worse than your Fernando Mendoza take.
Yeah, he's calling blockers ahead of him as Foo Fighters plays off in the distance. Yeah, it's a great movie.
North Dallas 40.
80 for Brady.
Remember the Titans was not slop, and I will give you that. Remember the Titans was a good movie, not just a good football movie.
But the last play takes it out of great.
No, despite its ending, but I'm with Zaslow on this. The last play I believe I yelled at Denzel Washington about that can't be that was on the air. I think that can't be the way that game ends. You cannot fool the legendary district coach because all he's doing is yelling, "Watch for the deep pass." Watch for the deep pass. They got no time left. They got to go 80 yards. And the legendary district coach is yelling, "You got to look out for the deep pass." And then they trick him with a double reverse.
It's so bad.
You know what prevent defense does, Dan? Prevents you from winning.
He didn't account for Rev as a blocker. Come on.
Okay, we have the program.
Oh,
we have Friday Night Lights. We have Remember the Titans.
80 for Brady.
You can't give me two more? To
Varsity
complete five?
Blues.
How do you like that jambalaya?
All right, I'm going to put all of these on the poll, though.
It was bad.
I mean, Little Giants. Come on.
I'm going to give you Friday Night Lights, and I'm going to give you Remember the Titans, but it's all I'm going to give you from among everything that we have mentioned here. Now, the original Longest Yard needs to go up there, and I think North Dallas 40 does too, but I think North Dallas 40 would also have a hard time holding up. I have a hard time with any movies outside of basically The Godfather from the 70s holding up.
Does Jerry Maguire count in this situation?
No.
It's half the movie.
Put it on the poll. Does Jerry Maguire count as a football movie? Because I think it has to count as a football movie, and it's a good selection. I think that you've done well. I put Jerry Maguire. That would get us to 5 if we're willing to count all of that and not disqualify Remember the Titans because of that last play.
Dan, the program is 80% on Rotten Tomatoes, man.
And?
Hey, you're wrong. It's a good movie.
Put it on the poll at Le Batard Show. Was the program a good movie? I was objecting more to Varsity Blues than I was.
Come on, John Voight as the coach, Dan?
I don't want your life.
I don't get strokes, mother bleeper. I give them.
I'm going to argue that John Voight has never been in a good movie. I
Oh,
think I have
come
this
on.
wrong.
He was
Come
in
on.
Heat.
Yeah, he was in Heat.
He was in Heat.
Was he?
Deliverance, come on.
Midnight
Was
Cowboy?
he?
He's
Yeah,
the financer in
with
Heat.
a ponytail. Was he in Heat?
He was in Holes.
Did someone yell Anaconda at me?
Yeah.
They're remaking Anaconda, aren't they?
Yeah, it was already out.
Who are they making?
Critical flop.
Who are they remaking?
It was with Jack Black and Paul Rudd.
Yeah.
But it's a comedy.
But Steve Zahn is in it, and he was in the original. How about that? Wow.
How about that?
How's that?
I think, was John Voight in one of the Beverly Hills Cops? I think he was in the second Beverly Hills Cop.
No, he was not in Beverly Hills Cop, Dan.
Are you sure?
No. No. Trust me, I've seen all 4 of them. He wasn't in them.
I think.
National Treasure,
Weren't
Dan?
there a couple of biker guys trying to kill Eddie Murphy who answered to John Voight in one of the Beverly Hills Cops? Because I think
There were bikers in Another 48 Hours.
okay, that's the movie I'm thinking of John Voight. So I'll give John Voight that.
Bad
one.
hour for you, man.
You think? Because I've forgotten all of John Voight's good roles, and somebody shouted Anaconda at me when he got spit up by a giant snake and then winked at it while covered in fluid. That's the one that you guys are talking about. He was on his knees, got spit out by a giant snake, and then he wasn't quite dead, winked, and then died.
He's a showman.
There's 6 inches in front of your face.
With Jeremy Tashi.
Because Jeremy was an alleged journalist last night. Yeah, my thoughts exactly. Jeremy, who is an up-and-comer in the broadcasting game and is someone who has now journalistic credentials around, literal credentials around the Heat and the Marlins. Yesterday he was hosting, and this is one of the great things, Stugotz, this time of year. We get it so infrequently around here in South Florida. But South Florida has always done this well. The rest of the country always makes fun of, you guys don't care about that sports that much. You're bandwagon people. All right. Many of us are. Not everyone is. The loyalists are super loyal. But Miami does the bandwagon better than anybody. Miami does. Everyone now show up for the party. And so you have, stunningly, a hockey arena in the Everglades. Surrounded by airboats and alligators, filled with people to do the wave, watching the game on television. And at the Heat, across the street from us last night, Jeremy Taché is watching the end of that game with a lot of people who are excited. And Stugotz, I'm getting a lot of this. Jimmy was out of bounds, and it ended up being a 3. That was a goaltend ref culture win. Okay, whatever. Tell it to the people who were yelling and screaming around Jeremy.
How about this? 1-1, we're coming home.
Okay, who's we?
Yeah, I mean, I took the Heat in 5. Anyone else?
He's right.
All right, the Knicks are watching this like everybody
2 rounds
else.
ago.
It was a long time ago, understandably. Here's Jeremy Tessier not being a journalist while covering, again, an arena filled with people, but no players or athletes were there.
You're catching us right now as the Miami Heat have just won Game 2 of the NBA Finals. You can see that this crowd here is hoisting babies into the air. This crowd is ready from the moment this game started, and it has continued here as the Miami Heat have just upset the Denver Nuggets. We got fans go crazy. We're high-fiving. Everybody's ready for an unbelievable night right here in Miami. The Kaseya Center was ready for a great night from the jump, as this energy around the entire lower bowl was electric from the moment this game started until the moment it ended. As we pan out to the rest of the crowd, you can see the entire lower bowl going absolutely crazy to end this game. The Miami Heat have just won it as Jamal Murray's shot has not gone in. I cannot believe what I've witnessed around me. There were moments in the fourth quarter where I couldn't hear myself think. I don't even know if you can hear me on the microphone. What a night at the Kaseya Center as the Miami Heat take their first game, their first win in Denver, and I know that this crowd right here is ready for an unbelievable party Wednesday night, Game 3 here in the Heat's house. Guys, we'll send it back to you in the studio.
Oh my gosh, Jeremy Tessier doing that on 1 tank of oxygen.
Not a single breath taken. He was like one of those free divers that go down for 20 minutes at the bottom of the ocean. It was a record. And if you're listening just by audio and not watching, what you didn't see in that noise is there were 11 actual babies tossed in the air. Just infants.
Seems
that were
reckless.
It does, but hey, it's Game 2.
Right.
Wait till Game 7 of this thing.
Right.
11 babies, a fetus.
It's not going 7. I said 5. I mean,
That's right.
You did mention that.
Yeah.
The energy was actually insane. I don't remember any of that. I feel like I blacked out as that happened. It sounded like I was losing my voice. I wasn't losing my voice. I literally was just unhinged. I don't remember it. It was really amazing.
You blacked out. Excellent work by you, blacking out as a impartial observer of games.
Well, you can't be impartial if you're holding a microphone that says Heat TV.
My job
Right.
is sales
And
in that.
high-fiving
You're
people.
emceeing.
Yeah.
Emceeing is really sales.
I'm
right?
there.
Yeah.
I'm there to make sure everybody's ready to be at games 3 and 4. I'm there to make sure that everybody is ready to be at the road rally. Bally Sports, the heart of the fan.
Put it on the poll, please, Juju, at Le Batard Show. Would the Zeller minutes look the same if you replaced him with a newborn giraffe?
Or that newborn baby that was being hoisted into the air.
The giraffe would just be more distracting. I feel like we'd have more success.
No,
It'd be
Zeller's
like,
plenty distracting.
Porter
He's right
Jr.
now.
would be like, why is there a giraffe on the court?
No. Listen to me. Zeller is a strong human being. He is a big human being. And when he starts balling around there.
I can't take my eyes off of him.
Well, no, nobody can. Nobody can. Jokic, you're hoping to distract Jokic. It's dangerous. It's like having a wrecking ball just move through the court, but it's like on a hinge that's not safe, and it's just swinging through, and you got to be careful because every once in a while they'll put one in with an offensive rebound, but everyone be careful because it might fly into the stands. The Zeller minutes are amazing. Yeah. They're a joy to watch.
Oh. Ever since Tony pointed it out, those black shoes, they don't
it's
help.
The hair or lack of hair, too. It's kind of disturbing.
No, it's also the mask. Or just, again, I've mentioned that it should be a retainer, a wire that runs outside of his mouth. It's just
like
all
ear to ear.
That could impale someone.
And if not for a Theragun, that could be Dwayne Dedman.
Jeremy becomes Jeremy.
Okay, so we got a bear here stumbling around. You see that mirror to the left. He's like, oh, this is weird. There's a lot of weird stuff here. Oh, my God. I just saw myself. He's like, get out of here. So that's how I imagine a bear would react if they saw Jeremy in the woods.
But that's what they would do to me.
It's really screwed up to do that to a bear, honestly. He's just like not expecting, just like having a nice stroll.
Right.
And just we'll watch it one more time. This is good fun. Good, clean fun right here.
It really
He's
is.
just like, oh my God.
And then he's going,
He was
what
definitely
a good-looking bear.
definitely scarred from that for a few months.
Who puts a mirror in the woods?
It's weird.
That's my question.
How did it get there?
It was probably for the internet video. They probably did that on purpose.
Yeah, but you're messing with bears. I mean,
It's not right.
leave the bear alone.
Who would do something for the internet visually like that with a
Yeah,
bear?
imagine that.
What are the chances there's a camera right in front of it, too? Jeez. Small world.
Greg, it was interesting. A bunch of people agreed. Now, you had a weekend where the Eagles lost, the Niners lost, so no more undefeated teams. 72 Dolphins could celebrate. But a lot of people saying the Dolphins were the best team in the NFL through 6 weeks. And so I know you're impressed with the offense. Hawk was in here yesterday, Andrew Hawkins, Tomahawk Podcast. He said that Tyreek Hill is the best player, non-quarterback division, in the NFL. And I agree with him. The Dolphins are overwhelming. I'm not certain they're not the best team in the NFL right now, Greg.
I think they are at this minute. They're an underdog in Philadelphia, but only by 2.5 points, which is very interesting.
Put it on the poll, please, at Le Batard Show. If you were watching football for the first time yesterday, do you think that you would say those 4 teams were playing the same sport? That those 2 games were the same sport? I had that weird thought yesterday, absent context. If you didn't know what jogging and marathoning was, because the Miami Marathon sort of shut down all of Miami Sunday morning where you couldn't get anywhere because you had thousands of people who have flown in from all over running down the street. And if you didn't know what marathons were, you'd just think that a bunch of people were being chased by something giant. It starts off with the Kenyans are in front of everybody, and then the incredibly fit, obsessive people, and then it's, a guy dressed as Batman is running through the streets. But you would be confused by I couldn't walk my dog across Ocean Drive because you couldn't get across the street at any point with a patch of opening between the sheer number of people who were running through our city in one of the few places in the United States that you could run yesterday, given the weather.
It's a beautiful marathon. My wife did it a couple of years ago. She did the half, not the full. But she told me once you get down to MacArthur, it's basically a straight shot where you're in the water and you're on the beach, and it's awesome. But, yeah, I would never do that.
At Le Batard Show as well, put this on the poll. These are the 5 I'm nominating on football movies. You tell me if I'm missing.
Varsity Blues better
you
be in
guys
there.
want to put Varsity Blues in the program in here. I think the 5 best we've got are Friday Night Lights, Remember the Titans, Jerry Maguire, North Dallas 40, and the original Longest Yard.
You're counting Jerry Maguire? I object to that.
How are you objecting to
It's
that?
not a football movie.
But it is a. What do you mean it's
Is
not?
Last Boy Scout a football movie?
When there was somebody on the field breaking through on a touchdown, shooting people with a gun they pulled from their pants, no, that's not a football movie.
Is Radio a football movie?
That's offensive by you. That is just Cuba
Is it a
Gooding.
is it a football
That
movie?
is Cuba Gooding Jr. just trying to win an Oscar and going too far. And I believe Robert Downey Jr. warned Ben Stiller about this in Tropic Thunder. You can't do what Cuba Gooding Jr. trying to win an Oscar did.
Okay, I have a couple for you that we've left out that definitely are on that list. Not that they're better movies than Jerry Maguire. I object to Jerry Maguire being a football movie. Number 1, Rudy. Rudy's a great movie. Come on, what are we doing?
Is it?
I know we don't like Notre Dame, but Rudy's a great movie.
I don't know if
Come on.
Rudy's a great movie.
What's the matter with you?
Boring.
Number 2, and I'm sorry, I refuse to hear any kind of pushback. You know about that Sonny Weaver Jr.?
Go ahead and put Rudy on there as well. Just put those movies up there and have people pick from among
Draft
them.
day, Dan? Draft day?
No, you are not doing that.
He got all his picks
Kevin
back.
Costner and Draft Day is not a great movie.
Sonny Weaver got all of his picks back. Why? Because he felt like it.
You're disqualified from talking about great football movies.
What a movie.
Dark Knight Rises?
Amin is right about you and your questionable movie
What a
judgment. Can we get up, and forgive me, audio audience, for doing this to you, but I suggest you look this up on the internet if you have not seen it. Can we put Craig Barubi, the Toronto Maple Leafs coach, up on the screen? And he says he had a weight room accident, and I just don't know how he was lifting weights. I want you guys to help me. This scar looks like something out of the movie Saw. If I told you that this person was out of the movie Saw and had been tortured in the movie, I'm going to try to explain this to the audio audience, okay? There's a lot of forehead on this man. He has the tremendous cul-de-sac that makes his hair start at the top of his skull, okay? The very top of his skull, the middle of his skull is where his hair starts. And right before that hair starts, he has a parabola, an injury that runs basically from one eyebrow to the other, a rainbow of blood, a scar that seems impossible. I don't even know what happened to him in the weight room. Do you guys have any theories? Did a weight fall on his head?
Nothing happened in a weight room.
You think he's lying about what the injury is?
Zaz, you know about that WrestleMania 9?
Oh, of course.
You remember
Caesar's Palace.
Yes, Brutus the Barber Beefcake and Hulk Hogan.
Yeah.
Tag teaming.
Yeah. Against
Hulk
Money
Hogan,
Inc.
Hulk Hogan shows up, his face all jacked up.
Black eye, macho.
You know what they told us?
Macho punched him in the eye.
But you know what they told us?
What?
A gym accident.
Oh, yeah, that was a gym accident, Dan.
Okay, so what do you guys have happening here? You guys don't believe it's a gym accident. You believe that he's lying.
Correct, because of WrestleMania 9.
I thought this of Pat Riley once. I remember Pat Riley showed up for a morning press conference when he was coaching the Heat, and he had a giant scar on the top of his head, and he said he got it swimming. And I'm like, that's not true. That can't be true. Something else had to have happened there. There's no way that you would get that giant scar on your face from swimming. Okay, so you guys believe Craig Barubi to be a liar here. Tell me what happened to him. Do you think that someone cut him with some sort of utensil that cuts in parabolas?
In an upside down smile?
I mean, I think that Jigsaw got a hold of him.
The
and
Joker,
he was
maybe?
in one of the salt traps.
He had a key in his frontal lobe. He had to cut it open with a...
This is what it would look like if Home Alone were more realistic.
Listen, I'm not going to call somebody who's a liar who happens to be 7th all-time in penalty minutes in league history.
Yeah.
You don't want to get on
that
his bad
smoke.
side.
That's right. Thank you, Roy.
You want the honest answer? Skull Crusher. You ever done those, Dan?
Yes, I have.
Okay,
Thank
well, you know when you got a real heavy, you got a real heavy skull crusher. You're like, I hope this doesn't crush my skull. And then all of a sudden,
The scar doesn't really make sense, though.
You guys think he's lying? That you guys are officially
I know he's lying.
You know he's lying.
I know he's lying.
Well, you said it, not me.
I'm not going to call him a liar.
Whatever. I just
saying,
did. Who cares? What's Craig Barubi going to do?
WrestleMania 9.
The Chief.
He's 7th in penalty minutes of all time. What do you mean is what is he going to do?
So what's he going to do? What's he going to do? What's Craig Barubi? Hey, Craig Barubi, I think you're lying. What are you going to do about it? Nothing. You do nothing. Who cares? Penalty minutes. Sucker. Lose the Panthers again. Craig Barubi.
Did you just try to make the camera flinch by just?
Well, maybe he's watching.
By thrusting an eyebrow toward the camera. That's what you just did. You did it again. Okay, very good. Threatening. I had another incident this weekend with people who will not take my cash. I continue to get more and more upset about this. George Sedano misrepresented me last week when he shouted. He said I was shouting in a carport, "This is America, Jack." I didn't say Jack when a valet wouldn't take my cash money. I did not say this is America either. I said that in America, cash is still good. Cash, for now, cash is still good in America. And I evidently sounded just like this guy. We have played this sound before, but I cannot get enough of this sound. I can't believe that I am now this person.
I'm going to buy some strawberries, and I'm offering exactly the right amount of money here on the help desk. So you people take that money, £1.90, and I will take my strawberries outside. If you want to call the police, call the police. You can't take that. I paid by legal tender. No, don't break it down. Do not break it down. I paid by legal tender, and I am going out with my strawberries. And I'm going to eat them. I'm going to eat my strawberries. I paid by legal tender in this dystopian place.
Yeah, hero.
I feel like I should be applauded when I do things like this. Again, when I talk about the normalization of things, okay? The thing that pissed me off the first time, and I think this is a reasonable thing to piss me off, you don't have parking. You do not allow me to park my own car because you don't have a place that has parking. Therefore, I must pay you whatever you decide to go take my car somewhere. And in this case, it's $16, which is cheaper than it is in most places in Miami. This is a grift of the highest order. A giant business is formed around your ability to just steal my money because you don't have parking that allows me to park my own car. How have we gotten used to this? And how have we gotten used to the combination of this and you won't take my cash when I try to give it to you? My cash is no good. I have to give you my information so somebody who's an employee for 2 days will have my credit card information now. This is the way the transaction works. How much of this am I supposed to eat before I get upset about this?
So, Dan, you drive up to the valet and you're like, all right, I'm going to valet my car here. I'm going to this spot. And they told you, okay, great, but you can only use card. There's no cash.
They didn't tell me that beforehand.
Okay, so you drop off your car. You think everything's good. You go to pay. You take out a nice crisp 20. You give the guy a 20, nice little $4 tip. Everybody's happy. And he said, I can't take this.
That's right.
And he said, only card.
That's correct.
That guy's an idiot.
You've got no, but that's and then he gets his manager, and I've got to give you all my information now too. It's not just that you have to rip. It's not just that you rip me off with the parking, and this is now normal. And it's not just that you won't take my cash. Now you also get to use my credit card. Mike will tell you what bullshit it is to have your identity stolen by somebody, and what a headache it is to get your.
It's the bullshit.
That's the bullshit?
It's the bullshit.
The bullshit's happened to you?
The bullshit has happened to me.
And how annoying is that to try and clear all that up when somebody has just used your credit card information? And look, man.
Oh, file taxes has me. It was just a nightmare for like several years. But now it happens so often that it's a lot easier. But I had it when you didn't want it.
Wow.
I still don't think that you want any of that. By the way, if you found me annoying, as you often do and did in the first 2 hours of the show, this hour is going to be even more annoying because Carl Douglas, our legal expert, is going to join us. We haven't talked to him in a while. And what we're going to talk to him about is some of the other un-American things that are happening now in Minnesota, where we have protesters running the risk of being shot by fake police because we're okay with Donald Trump's unqualified state militia, not only killing protesters and then sending out an assortment of disinformation that puts a family that's already grieving into the position of feeling like someone who's already a victim is going to be vilified with an assortment of things that aren't facts, as the government behaves in a way that feels like disinformation and propaganda and lies. And I will tell you, as someone who has only borrowed from my parents and grandparents all the stories about what it feels like to have your freedom taken away, that the stories that my family told about how communism crept into freedom and took away rights so that Cuba is the rotting island that you see today, it begins with giving power to people who shouldn't have it and who really like having that power, unqualified people. So if normal police officers are doing a job that's so difficult that very often tragedies arise all the time, injustices and brutalities, because you have police officers who are armed, who are also afraid. And therefore, you get into situations where police officers do wrong things. Police officers who, as is, are often unqualified because it's a very hard job to be qualified for. To put more of them in the streets and give them power and give them arms and then defend them when they do the wrong thing and then tell us that our eyes are lying to us and then get subsequent video that shows, our eyes were not lying to us. The government is lying to us in defense of fake police. We're going to talk about this with Carl Douglas because it's super weird among all the weird things happening in America now to see this happening in Minnesota. It's like one of the whitest places in the world. You should be safe protesting there. You should not be a family begging your governor, please tell the story of our son. Please tell people that he was good, that he was a nurse, that he was trying to do the right things. They canceled when the first time this happened a mile away from the last time it happened. It's just, I'm telling you, it's really weird to see the city of George Floyd now 5 years later. This is a super white city. To see Minnesota descend into something where it's not safe to protest because you cannot trust that your government is going to tell the truth about what it is that's happened in the streets. And you have to be thankful for the fact that everyone's got a camera phone now, because the only difference between the horror stories that my grandparents and my parents tell about the falling of freedom is that we now have the video that tells us the truth so that everyone can be properly outraged by things that I'm going to say that even though we can't get consensus on just about anything and people are divided along political lines, I think we have reached a breaking point where Americans are looking at something and saying, yeah, that's not right. That's not what this country is supposed to be in terms of freedom, that you are protesting peacefully and you do have a right to bear arms. And we just saw a video that shows that this person was shot after he was any kind of threat, even though he was armed. These people are not qualified to be doing the job that they're doing. Cubans in Florida are being deported at a rate that is record high. In Florida because of the vilifying of brown people and black people. But now we're killing innocent white people. And that seems to be at least something of a breaking point for Americans where they're like, yeah, this isn't okay. You can't have people who aren't qualified to do this job acting in a way that is criminal.
Yeah, I think the big thing that I keep coming back to and that I hope people can understand is, like, it's not too late to change your mind. It's not too late to look at this and maybe have advocated for it before and think immigration policy is one thing and say, no, like, this has gone too far. And we can disagree about a whole bunch of different stuff. It could be immigration policy. It could be queer inclusion. It could be taxes. It could be anything. We can have those debates another day. Like, that doesn't mean that you have to dig your heels in on this one, no matter how annoying you might find me or Dan or anyone on this side of the aisle. I don't think that even if you find someone annoying, you should think that it's okay for them to be gunned down in the street by a secret police. Not me, not an immigrant, not you, not anybody. And to me, this is like evolved really far beyond immigration enforcement. Like, this is just about fear, intimidation, and you can see what's happening. Like, right in front of your eyes, there's video. It's all being laid out in front of you. It's why this regime and any fascist regime would really love AI, because it can blur the lines between what reality is and isn't. But you don't have to stay steadfast on your side in this one. Like, it's okay to change your mind. Nobody's going to judge you. Whether you hear the words of Renee Good and Alex Preddy at the end of their lives, and it's, hey, are you okay, is what Alex Preddy's last words were. And Renee Good's last words are, I'm not mad at you, man. I'm not mad at you, dude. And yet you have officers who their next words are, effing be and boo-hoo to a group of protesters nearby. Like, this is a space where the people in charge are no longer in favor of the people. You literally have the Secretary of Defense tweeting ICE > Minnesota. Like, that is not the space that any of us want to be in. And it's okay for you to wonder, like, what would I do if these people came to my town? And which side would I want to be on? So you don't have to accept it. Like, you can decide enough is enough and change your mind on this.
And keep in mind how this all started. They blamed Somalis. But in actuality, the state of Minnesota voted against Donald Trump in the 3 elections that he was in. So really, this is just President Trump being vindictive and going after the state.
Carl Douglas has represented everyone from Tupac to O.J. Simpson. He's on today because he's shaken, as are we, by what he's seeing happen in this country. For those of you who do not know, he mentioned the name Alex Preddy, a federal immigration officer killed. Alex Preddy, a 37-year-old intensive care unit nurse. He was protesting a mile away from where Renee Good was shot. Carl, thank you for joining us. What do you make of what it is that you have seen happen over the last month? And it's nice to see you again, even under the circumstances.
Dan, it's always a pleasure being with you and your team. What I've seen over the last month is consistent with what I've seen over the last 45 years of representing families like Renee Good and Alex Preddy, who have been victimized by law enforcement. Let me start by saying, Dan, being a cop is tough, but not everyone is good at it. I've had cases of people being shot behind the steering wheels. I've had cases of people being injured during protests. I've had trials last year and the year before in Los Angeles from protesters who've been injured. I know that every state in America has an organization called POST, Peace Officer Standards and Training, and there's a training program for POST in every state. That training program is 6 months long. By comparison, the training program of ICE is 42 days. It is not possible for even the best trained post officers to deal with the stress and the tension that comes when American protesters are against you. Cops are human too. They lose their tempers. They don't like ICE. They don't like having their evenings disrupted because there are people with whistles outside of their hotel in a foreign city. So tensions are tough. And when there is the kind of rhetoric that we see from Washington, blindly supporting whatever they do, however outrageous it is, it emboldens them. It's in that context where there's already tension, where every moment of their professional lives, they're being the subject of this backlash that emboldens them to be more aggressive. Alex Preddy, as you and your listeners, I'm sure, knows, was unarmed when he was shot. An officer had removed whatever weapons he lawfully carried when he was shot. Renee Good was trying to get away when she was shot, and there were 2 shots fired in the side of the window of her open driver's side door as she was past the officer, and he was no longer in threat. Officers are not trained to simply fire until they're out of bullets. They're trained to fire only when they are confronted with an imminent threat. And in the case of Alex Preddy, 10 shots after he was unarmed is clearly excessive. But when you have ICE officials coming out within minutes of the shooting, calling the victims domestic terrorists, that emboldens the cops. When you have protesters that are continuing to be vocal, that emboldens the cops and it raises the tension. So Dan, regrettably, I hope you have me on your show again. This is going to happen again. It may not be in Minneapolis. It may be in Boston. It may be in Chicago. It may be in Detroit. But when you have marauders who are not uniformed, driving common-looking SUVs, riding 6 deep, it will continue to foster a circumstance when other lesser-trained officers are going to be afraid, frightened, and emboldened, and there will be more citizens killed.
The vice president said that the officer that shot Renee Good was, quote unquote, protected by absolute immunity. Is that true?
There's no absolute immunity if you use force unreasonably. And it's so terrible, Roy, that they're not even investigating the conduct of the officer in the Renee Good setting. There's a universal thought among law enforcement that shooting at moving vehicles are discouraged, especially or unless there is some deadly threat separate from the vehicle itself, because shooting a gun is reckless, man. It's not like you see on television. You're shooting all over the place, and innocent people can be injured by the stray bullets, and often are. So there are universal trainings over the course of your 6 months, not just 42 days, that you never shoot at a moving vehicle. You get your butt out of the way. And clearly, with Renee Good, 2 of the shots went through the open driver's side window. I'm sure she was shot in the head. And it's terrible that after the shootings, they simply allow the bodies to lay there and bleed out. They prevented doctors who were present in each instance, healthcare providers, to come to the scene to try to give aid to the fallen victims. That shows how there's now a warrior mentality, us versus them. They are the bad guys, we are the good guys. And that warrior mentality is at the basis of most uses of unreasonable force, that coupled with fear. Because cops are people too, and cops are afraid. And when they are emboldened, what they'll do first is draw on their weapons or use their force. You saw how Brady was pepper sprayed right in the face because he came to the aid of another innocent protester, a woman who had been pushed down. You saw how 6 cops pounded on him immediately, not knowing what he had done, simply because he was in the way. That is the attitude and the culture that all Americans should stand up against. And Dan, most of my clients look like me. Some of my clients look like you, but few of my clients look like Renee Good and Alex Preddy. So hopefully this is a wake-up call for your listeners. But for the grace of God, any of you can be victimized by these lawless enforcement agents.
Beyond that, when people say I don't live in Minneapolis or a city facing ice raids or mass protests, why should I care? Why should they care beyond what you just said?
Because we are a nation of humanity. We're different. We're special. And that's just not a saying. That's just not rhetoric. There has to be some substance to those ideals that we Americans hold dear. That's why it's so very important, even if you don't live in Minneapolis, that you have to make your voices heard and protest.
For those who survive these encounters with ICE, what are their legal recourses that they can use?
It is very difficult when you sue an agency of the federal government. You have to sue them, Roy, in federal court. When you sue a federal governmental agency in federal court, there's not a right to a jury. So everyone who is victimized who sues in federal court has a judge trial. When there's a judge trial rather than a jury trial, sometimes the public interest is not always reflected in the verdict. Sometimes the public outrage is not always reflected in the rulings. That's why we trial lawyers prefer having our cases heard by normal citizens. We're one of the few countries on earth, Roy, that has citizen juries deciding acts of wrongful death against our authorities. England has defamation. Some countries have a couple of causes of action, but only in America can the people reflect the outrage of the moment by their voices in a jury. That's why it's so very important.
How do you feel about the White House or Homeland Security trying to portray victims as dangerous terrorists, the justifying of these killings? Because I was mentioning it's one thing to just have the horror of the grief of, what do you mean I've lost my son? But then to watch what happens immediately next as your son or daughter is vilified and turned into someone dangerous or terrorist by political propaganda makes something that's already the worst even worse.
Dan, it is their playbook that they are using almost automatically. Within minutes, if not hours of a tragedy, and there will be others, they are labeled domestic terrorists, which is such an outrageous insult, but it reflects the partisanship, regrettably, that has so engulfed our country. The fact that the political leanings of a particular state or a city is the basis for focus is outrageous, is un-American. The last time I looked, the president is the president of all of us. And until President 45, they always embraced that notion. Even if you didn't vote for me, I'm your president. I want to work for you. Until that attitude, that foundational notion changes. In 2.5 years, I fear more of this blaming the victim is going to be part of the official discourse.
Everyone's obviously shocked and appalled by the shooting happening. I think Minneapolis police said they have had like 900 consecutive instances in which they've had to disarm someone, and they've always done so without shooting any shots. But for me, almost equally troubling is the lead up to this man being shot. He is on the side of the street with his cell phone protesting what seems to be obviously understandable and peacefully. And ICE agents stop their car. They get out. They lay their hands on another protester. He stands in between, still recording them. He gets taken down by approximately 7 officers. He is disarmed and then shot to death. What I imagine more people, even though it seems even more dangerous now, are going to be compelled to go out and protest. He seemed to have been doing things by the book in terms of peacefully protesting, and he ended up dead. If people in our audience are moved to go out and protest and they find themselves in a situation that is quickly accelerating and getting out of hand, what advice would you give them?
Mike, I'm the father of a 31-year-old black son. Every father of young black men have had the conversations with their children. Your number one job is to get home at the end of the day. Your job is not to enforce or to emphasize, particularly to a nervous officer, how you are in the right, especially in these times. I tell my kids, make sure you leave your hands so they can see them when they stop you in your car. I tell my son, make sure you tell him what you're going to do before you do it. I'm reaching into my glove box to get my registration like you've asked. Is that okay with you? It's regrettable, tragic, un-American that everyone should sit down and have conversations with their children, with their family, with their friends, if they are considering the risky nature now of exercising your First Amendment rights to protest, because the administration watches and listens and reacts to the polls. The polls are terrible against the Renee Good shooting and only are going to increase more, but only until the rhetoric is reduced will there be any true salvation. And regrettably, you're going to have me on again to talk about another travesty until people in charge begin to listen.
We have only a couple of minutes left, but you mentioned that very few of your clients look like Renee Good or Alex Preddy. Do you see anything shifting with the idea that these people look different than what is normally at the bottom end of these kinds of injustices? Do you see a shift anywhere in America happening?
Dan, as I've always told you, it is a roller coaster of public opinion. George Floyd, things were in favor of police reform. 2 years later, those sentiments waned, and we came to this. It always goes up or down. There's going to be some police officer who is injured, and public opinion is going to change again. The more things change, the more they remain the same. But only through exercising your rights is there any hope of a respite. But it goes up and down over the years, probably for eternity.
Carl, I'm wondering your thoughts on Second Amendment advocates in this situation, because Alex Preddy was called a domestic terrorist for having a gun, and they said, you don't bring a gun to a peaceful protest, but he was registered to carry in Minnesota, where you can do so, and yet this seems to be the general perception, where it seems like only the right people can be carrying a gun. What are your thoughts on the Second Amendment folks sort of backing away from this situation?
Well, Jeremy, interestingly, I saw this morning that the NRA came against those that are attacking Alex Preddy simply because he was exercising his rights to own a gun. So there's going to be some twisted analysis going on here, because the right doesn't quite understand or sure where they're going to stand. You can't talk about the Supreme Court broadening rights of states to legalize the possession of guns, yet at the same time castigate someone who was exercising their rights. I don't have a gun. I'm scared of guns. But certainly you can't have it both ways, and people on the right are trying to.
Carl, thank you, sir. I would say that it's nice seeing you. It usually is, but this is always the subject matter, and it's eternally depressing. So thank you for making the time for us early on the West Coast, sir.
Dan, always a pleasure. Please have me back.
Thank you, sir.